Shut up and sit down.
Moving, already said moving.
And Duvin.
This Duve, man. Hello and welcome to episode. I guess I'm going to keep that in. Hello and welcome to the Nerds at Large Spoilercast for Spider-Man Far From Home. I'm Darby Hallman.
I'm Jeff Mayo. Darby, you should have called it Spider-Man 2-3 Far From Home.
This is the third Spider-Man 2 we've had in our lives.
Yeah.
That is kind of absurd when you think about it.
Yeah.
But it's the first good one. Ha! Controversial takes coming out here. Well, if you haven't watched one of our Spoilercasts before, we are going to be spoiler-free, even though Spoilercast is in the name. Probably bad branding on my part, but it's too late now.
Everyone does it.
It's too late now. It's too late now. We're going to be spoiler-free for a little bit, and then we're going to move into spoilers. We will make sure you are well aware of when it's happening. So right now, spoiler-free. Jeffrey, what did you think about the MCU's second Spider-Man outing? Well, main Spider-Man outing.
Yeah. Outing with Spider-Man the title.
Yes.
Loved it, Darby. It was great.
Elaborate a little bit, Jeff.
Spoilers, Darby. No, I thought it was a very good time. Tom Holland is the best live-action Spider-Man. You can't convince me otherwise.
Period. Yes.
Yes. Jake Gyllenhaal was a delight.
Yes.
Show
stealing, some would say.
Yeah. The supporting cast was really good. MJ and Ned, of course, keeping it up. Still doing well.
Oh,
yeah. Aunt May was a delight when she was on.
Yeah.
Happy Hogan. Fun times.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I agree. I also loved it. It's kind of one of those movies that the more I think about it, the more I like it.
Yeah.
I don't think it quite had the, just complete gut punch of Homecoming that, Homecoming from start to finish, I'm like, oh my God, yes. This is what I've always wanted with a Spider-Man movie. With this one, I feel like it was a little more like it had to sit with me, and it wasn't until about halfway or a little less than halfway into it to where I really started being like, okay, here we go.
That's kind of weird. I've heard multiple people say that kind of a slow start. I loved it from the beginning. It's weird.
Yeah, I definitely get this. I liked it from the beginning, but there was definitely and we'll get into it. Homecoming, I think is perfect. I think Homecoming is a perfect superhero movie, and I don't say that lightly. I mean, I legitimately think it is perfect. I can't think of things that I had problems with. This one, there was it has some of my favorite moments in probably MCU history, but there was several, especially in that first act, comedic moments and just other just kind of vibe moments with the kids and everything that did fall flat to me. And we can get into them, but there was definitely some of them where it's I get what you're trying to go for, but it doesn't, there was definitely several things that felt off. And those added up enough for me to be I'm enjoying this, but it's not quite there for me yet. Mm-hmm. And then you hit about the, like I said, a little bit before middle part. And then I think from then on, it's boom, we're on to the races. And it's golden going after that. But I agree. Tom Holland is still just continues to separate himself even within the MCU, which is full of great actors. Yeah. And just having some of the best just emotional moments. And he's such a goofy character, but then he's also he seems like such a real kid. And he plays just grieving and loss, but also being an awkward kid who doesn't know how to deal with these things, and being nervous and shy around a girl. There's just so many but also being a goofball. He does all these things just so well, and it's so
can't believe he's 30.
And
no, he's not 30.
Jake Gyllenhaal, man, I've always liked Jake Gyllenhaal, but damn, I mean, he played a live action Mysterio, which is not an easy thing to do.
No.
That's like honestly something that like I would have been worried about if it was any like if the Sam Raimi movies were like, we're doing Mysterio,
no.
I'd be like, oh god. Because I mean, it's a very hard thing to do visually and just acting wise, and like, you know, he had to play a very big range of emotion, and he just nailed it, absolutely nailed it. I just bought him as Mysterio so well, and like it was a very modern Mysterio, like but I thought it was a very cool take on him, and just it's cool to finally see like some of these big actors like Michael Keaton and now Jake Gyllenhaal like play roles in the MCU, like very good actors that we know, but just to see them just kind of just crush it, and it's just kind of like it's cool. Like I kind of like these characters being like, I kind of like that we get Jake Gyllenhaal not as a hero, because we kind of get to see him play this awesome role, but it's not like, you know what I mean. It's kind of like here and then gone, which I kind of like, you know. Yeah. And then we have to talk about. We're not gonna get into spoilers, but if you know anything about Mysterio, you know that to do a live action Mysterio, there's going to be some crazy visuals that you're going to have to pull off. And I definitely understand. Like, I was also kind of like nervous about like, are they going to be able to nail this? Yes. Yes. The answer is yes.
Yep.
I think it was like, I think some of the most impressive visuals and some of the visuals that are going to stick with me the most in just MCU history were some of these Mysterio moments.
Indeed.
I think me and
Crazy
you both
stuff.
said that right afterwards.
Yep.
We're like, yeah, that those effects were just so damn cool. Yeah. Yeah, you agree.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's crazy stuff.
Yeah, it's really impressive stuff. And yeah, I like the dynamic from all the kids. It was like a lot of the same dynamics you saw from before. Obviously, a lot more of MJ in this movie. And I think I turned to Jeff afterwards and said, I think MJ might be at least like top 3 of my favorite MCU characters in general. Now I think she's just such a good character. I don't know. It's just hard to explain.
Best MJ.
I'll have to get into like.
There's only 2.
I think she might be my favorite MJ, just period, even like going back to like animated stuff and to like comics or just any other things that I've seen. Like, I just love this take. I love this take on all of them, and them just being like, they are distinctly high school kids.
But Darby, she's
With
not
all the
a redhead.
Whatever. Neither is Ariel, and it doesn't matter.
Darby.
Yeah, she was great. I think Nick Fury was okay in this movie. I don't think he was that great, but I don't think it mattered that much. Happy surprised me a lot though. Yeah. Like I like that. And Marissa Tomei, whatever, as Aunt May is still just the best choice. Like she is so good. They're I don't know. They nailed. I just love this universe. I love this cast so much. It's just like Spider-Man is just in such an amazing place.
I think it was a good first choice to be the post Endgame.
Oh, yeah, I agree too. It was a kind of a good end cap on.
Yeah,
like it did in a lot of ways. It did feel like the epilogue to Endgame.
Yeah,
you know, and I think people will say like, and this makes it sound like it's a bad thing, but like a lot of MCU is kind of feeling like a huge high budget TV show in a lot of ways, where like there's arcs and it's all interconnected and you're like seeing these things go. And this did like almost kind of feel like the season finale to the end game arc, you know, where it's like we got to see a little bit of the post like
end game,
the aftermath to a lot of the stuff that happened in end game. We got to see like our first glimpse at the MCU like after that, but it was still connected enough to it. Like this didn't feel like the next chapter. It kind of felt like the end of this chapter.
Yeah, I think it was also good at being Spider-Man is compared to pretty much all the other heroes, MCU heroes, besides, let's say, I guess Ant-Man. Spider-Man's kind of low on the social toner pole, so we get to see more how stuff affected normal people.
Yeah.
Compared to like if it was Thor.
Right. Yeah. There's a lot more out there, which we'll get into more in spoilers, but I love the way they handled the dusting, like people being dusted in Infinity War. and just the aftermath of all of that was just handled so well. And this was the perfect movie to handle that, because it's a very serious thing, but you're kind of seeing it from the eyes of high schoolers. And it's like the beginning of this movie is rock solid, just amazing. It was like such an amazing start to this movie. Let's see. So I'm about ready to move into spoilers.
Let's do it.
Jeff, just overall, like people need to go see this movie.
Of course.
Well, yes, it's a Spider-Man movie.
I think it will be good because I've seen some people talk about, specifically, like, let's say the Funhouse guys, like, I don't know how I'm going to feel about MCU movies after post Endgame. Then they ended up loving it.
And that's also why I think, like you said, it was a good thing they had this movie, because like I'm instantly like I'm stoked for post.
And I think it was good. It's so close.
Yeah,
such close proximity.
Yeah, which because I also like Endgame was so good, but it definitely there was a lot of finality to it. So this was a good way of being like, hey, there's still a lot to be excited.
There's still more.
we still going.
Oh, also, if you're listening to this and you haven't seen it and you're going to check out with spoilers, make sure you stay through the mid-credits and post-credits scenes.
Please, God, please do. Yeah, we won't say why, but please do. I mean, you should know to do this for MCU movies anyway, but definitely do it for this one. Definitely, yeah.
Might have one of the best mid-credit scenes. Yeah.
Come back and hear us talk about it in spoilers, because, that will definitely be part of this discussion.
Oh, yeah.
So definitely go see it. I think it's. I don't think it's quite as good as Homecoming, but I also think Homecoming is the third best superhero movie ever made, only behind Endgame and Infinity War. I think this is still way up there, and the more I think about this movie, the more I like it. So it's a good time. All right, from this point onwards, full spoilers. Make sure you have seen Spider-Man: Far From Home, because we gonna spoil it, and you don't want it spoiled for you.
No,
you don't want it spoiled. All right. 3, 2, 1. Goodbye.
Darby, I think you spoiled the movie in the non-spoiler section.
What did I do?
You kind of hinted at Jake Gyllenhaal being a bad guy.
Nah. I mean, I guess not everyone knows.
Nope. I've heard about a lot of people that.
Okay, but we'll see. Hopefully, it was not that obvious. I don't know. I'll go back and listen. But I guess it was pretty obvious. But I mean, he's a bad guy.
Some people don't. But I'm going to imagine anyone listening to this knows.
Probably. Well, I am sorry. But I mean, that he did do a very good job. Okay, even though I knew, mean, you should just know with Misty. Like, he is the villain of this movie.
What if the twist is Mysterio's actually a good guy the whole way through?
I mean, there was a chance. There was definitely a chance of that, and he really did sell that, because I think Andy said it a lot, and the kind of funny thing, Andy was like, I want him to be a good guy so bad, because he just seems like such a cool guy. And then Greg was like, yeah, that's how he manipulates you. And Jake Gyllenhaal played that so perfectly. Whenever they were sitting on the roof together, and he was like, it looked like he was really just having he was like an older brother almost having like a man-to-man conversation with Peter, and it just felt so genuine and so real, because I mean, Jake Gyllenhaal just played that so perfectly. And I like the moment that we're kind of jumping straight into the middle, but screw it, who cares?
Yeah.
Whenever Peter gives him the glasses and he walks away, that reveal might be one of my favorite moments in just MCU history. Like, I don't know, something about how everything just starts
fading away.
And
then it turns out, oh wait, some of the people are real. They're all in on it.
Yeah, I was expecting it to just be him. I wasn't expecting him to have a team of people. Yeah. And then I'm like, oh, okay,
they're all partying. Like, yeah, we did.
And his laugh. I don't know, something about his laugh and everything. And then when he's like, I'm not going to make a speech. I'm going to make a speech.
Like, the only at least one telling them how the plot, displaying the plan.
It was so well
and then they're having
done.
the doctor from Iron Man 1 there.
Yeah, with Obadiah Stane screaming at him. Oh, it's so good. Yeah, that whole scene, just, and how his character just changed on a dime right there. And it was one of those I don't know, something about I don't know if it was the same director and writers from Homecoming to this one, but they nail villains and having those villains kind of have a heel turn or a change or whatever. With the Michael Keaton reveal, I think that's still obviously pinnacle of because at least that twist we didn't see coming, or at least I didn't. It caught me completely off guard. This one obviously did not catch me off guard, but it was so well done that it was okay. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when you have Mysterio, the twist, a bigger twist would have been, for us, like I said earlier, he didn't end up being a bad guy. He was actually a good guy the whole time.
Yeah, that would have been.
Wasn't tricking Peter and everyone.
Right. But then the bummer of that, like, then the elementals would probably have to be real, and that's really boring. Like, I actually kind of like that they're like, hey, multiverse and elementals. No, just kidding. It's all bullshit. And then they honestly kind of like directly make fun of multiverse and elementals. It's like, yeah, this is just what this guy made up because he thinks this is what he thinks is cool.
Yeah,
but it's not, you know.
And things are so crazy nowadays. Why wouldn't people believe this stuff?
And then, it's very realistic. Like, yeah, of course. Why wouldn't you, like, aliens came out of a warp hole in the sky? Of course you'd believe that some giant elemental monster.
I mean, I guess it's probably not public knowledge, but time travel's real.
Time travel is real. I mean, all, like, half the people just disappeared for 5 years and they came back.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you believe in all this stuff?
Of course, yeah. Yeah. And the fact that it was all, like, because... Like I loved it was like drones and stuff. It felt like a very modern thing, you know, like and even like with some of the stuff when like it was destroying everything, I was wondering like how exactly a lot of this was working. But I just thought it was really cool, you know, from that standpoint. But we can start at the beginning. I just naturally started like Mysterio.
Okay. Well, start of the movie. It started with Nick Fury and Maria Hill meeting Mysterio in like Mexico or something.
I do have to say, bad scene. This whole like beginning Mexico scene was just a weird way to start the movie, and I felt like it was unnecessary. It just didn't look good. It was just kind of like, it was weird. It should have just started immediately with the that's how it should have started. Yeah. But anyway,
so that scene happened, showing, hey, elementals are a thing. This is what's happening. Blah blah blah. And Darby hinted at it went to Peter's high school at their local school news thing. They're doing a in memoriam for the heroes that died, and then the Getty's image thing at the
the Getty images and like the obvious, like they probably like actually making the movie went on Google and searched like Vision and like searched the lowest res like image of a Vision,
and also kind of solidified the whole, hey, as far as people know, Cap's gone.
Yeah,
he's gone.
Yeah. They think he's dead. Yeah. Which, and like this was such a like in such a short amount of time, they explained so much. And
blip,
and they did it in such a funny way. They explain a lot, and a lot of it's like kind of messed up stuff, but they also like it had this kind of sick humor on it, which was so good.
It's like kind of explained. No, they're going there with some of the stuff we figured like would happen. Yeah. Obviously, didn't go as far as what would technically be real, but understandably, they're not gonna. Well, then this would be the most. If they really went all in on the whole, hey, half the population was gone for fires and suddenly came back, this would be the most sad, darkest like film franchise ever.
Yeah. Well, and this could have, like, if the first movie was some other movie, like, I don't know. They're all kind of lighthearted at this point, but like, there definitely could have been a telling of this, like you said, that was like very grim dark.
Yeah.
With this, but the fact that like I kind of loved that it was a Spider-Man movie. Was like basically we had to rely on a bunch of 16-year-olds to tell us this information.
We have to go into the whole, hey, we have some classmates that, were 11. Well, I mean, they didn't get blipped, and like were 11 when people disappeared, and they're back, and now they're their age.
And guys, like my younger brother is my older brother now. Yeah. And the kids coming back in the marching band thing, it just killed me. Like, bam. Oh, so good.
And then, I'm sure everyone had that thought, like Dar and I discussed the whole, there are people that appeared in the air.
Yeah, that were on planes and stuff.
Or in the freeway and stuff. Unless they were able to do a thing of, Hulk was able to do a thing of, everyone's safe. Which I doubt that's...
Well, he obviously didn't care about the safety of those marching band kids that slammed into each other. As safe as they can be.
Yeah. Without being killed. Pretty much.
Or maybe he just wanted to see those, like, everyone's safe, but those marching band kids, I want to see a funny video.
They've had it too good for too long.
He just hates marching band.
Yeah, it's weird. We're going to talk about that. Yeah, we've been calling it the snap and all that stuff for the last year
all
plus.
call it the blip.
They call it the blip.
And they all stick to that the whole movie. Like,
Yep.
the entire movie. Everyone calls it the blip.
I'm curious to see once we get to other ones when they discuss it, if that's just going to be a
high school
thing, or just what they call it, like that particular high school, or that's just gonna be a universal thing.
Yeah.
Or maybe like Guardians.
I think
the very
even
least.
like Happy called it the blip. I think.
That's true. Yeah, might be an Earth thing. I'm curious to see if like, hey, well, the Guardians they call it that.
Everyone has their own term.
Yeah.
For it.
They'll probably just all call it the blip to make it simple.
It would be funny if the Guardians had their own like dumb
Yeah.
name for it, but yeah. And then we get to see the school in general. Like, I forgot everything we saw there, but obviously we meet back up with Ned. MJ's a lot more of a character in this one immediately, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And
lucky for Peter that the girl he liked also disappeared for 5 years.
Yes.
And his best friend.
No, luckily, like, all the central characters around him. God bless.
Yeah, obviously, a lot of the ones like Flash and stuff all blip, but people did point
at May.
Yeah. Well, maybe her.
Yeah, she did, because remember she said that she appeared back and someone thought that she was a mistress because she appeared back in her.
Okay, yeah,
she appeared back in her apartment which had been sold to someone else.
Oh yeah.
And so apparently old granny thought that she was a ghost, and the wife thought she was a mistress.
Yeah. So lucky for Peter.
Yeah. Yeah. I was gonna say something, but I forgot. Anyway, but we're starting to see his plan to get with MJ, which is adorable and great, and it's like it definitely like becomes almost the central plot, or one of the central plots of the entire movie that they keep going back to. There's kind of like the action Spider-Man plot, and then the
little teen romance
plot, which is so good because it's so obvious they both like each other, but they're awkward kids, and it's great. They handled that like super well.
Then we see Peter going to Aunt May's little fundraiser thing for people that have been misplaced or whatever because of the blip.
Yeah.
He's there in Spider-Man. He's
very
in the Iron
stiff.
Spider. Yeah.
He's very stiff. Well, yeah. Yeah.
Got some stage fright.
Yeah. Yeah. And then he ghosts Nick Fury.
He does ghost Nick.
You don't ghost Nick
Happy
Fury.
shows up. They can like, hey, Happy and Aunt May might have a thing going on.
And then later on, yes, they definitely have a thing going on.
But their interpretation of it's different.
Yeah. What did you think about Happy and Aunt May's relationship?
That was fun.
Yeah, I definitely didn't see it coming, but I liked it a lot. Like, yeah, it was fun. Like, I like Happy as a character, and I think this was definitely like his best movie. This was the most he's been a character.
I was thinking, nice, Happy, nice.
Yeah, and nice. like, yeah, nice.
Yeah. And then Happy leaves, and the whole thing with Nick Fury. He goes out there, and people are bombarding him with questions about him being the leader of the Avengers and being an Avenger and stuff. Peter just gets overwhelmed and just leaves.
Yeah. So Peter, you probably should have known that some of these questions were going to happen, but I know you're a dumb little kid. You don't know. Yeah.
And your aunt doesn't know everything that's going on.
No. But I also like how that's also kind of like I like that we don't have to go through the whole like Aunt May's trying to convince him to not do this or or worried about it or whatever. Like, that's the normal Spider-Man thing you would think, is that Aunt May's not happy about this.
Or the normal, hey, this is the teenage superhero thing.
Yeah, like the mom's worried sick or whatever. I kind of love that she's more about this than he is.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, you need to make sure you pack your suit. You need to do this or make sure you do this. Like, I like that she's like all about him being Spider-Man, which is like kind of a refreshing change.
Yep. And they call the Spidey sense the Peter Tingle.
The Peter Tingle, which is so good.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure what makes it feel safer is, well, at least at the beginning of the movie, is that he has the Iron Spider suit, which is mostly indestructible.
But then he packs his like shitty little.
Aunt May did that.
Yeah, Aunt May
it fits better. She doesn't know how the Iron Spider suit works. Did you see in that little case? It was like weird.
She might activate kill mode, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. What happened to Karen?
I don't know, man.
Because now he has Edith and Karen.
What a player. And MJ.
And MJ. Well, anyway, yeah, he ghosts Nick Fury. I like that whole thing where he's like the happy's terrified to just like no, answer the phone.
He scares me.
It was really good.
Yeah.
So then
they go to the airport. They're about to go on their little school trip.
yeah, Aunt May snuck the suitcase in there, or snuck the banana. Yeah, and the banana. Yeah, that was
very
funny.
important.
It's like, yeah, there's nothing in here. It's like, well, shit.
So I was confused when they we're kind of skipping we can go back to that little airplane scenes or whatever. I think it was when they got to Venice or one of the other places. They opened the suitcase to get the banana. Did the person not see the Spider-Man suit?
Yeah,
I guess when I was thinking at the time, I was like, they saw it as like, oh, this guy's just a kid with a costume.
I thought there was gonna be some line about like him being a cosplayer or something like that. Like, but yeah, I agree. Like, she definitely saw it. There's no way she didn't see it. So like, I don't know if we're supposed to believe that she knew that he was Spider-Man and just let him pass through and didn't care, or if she just assumed that he was. Like, I feel like there should have been some line.
Yeah.
Like, to
going back
indicate
to
what
the airplane scene.
Like, maybe she's just not the snitch.
Yeah. She doesn't want to get stitches, you know?
Yeah.
To the airplane scene, this is where Peter starts to try to do his plot to get with MJ. But
I don't know either the guys' names, unfortunately. Either the like camp counselor people.
I was talking about the Asian kid's name, the one that.
Oh, Ned.
Yeah, no.
Or wait, who are we talking about?
The kid that was 11, but now their age.
Brad.
Brad. Yeah, he's also trying to obviously get
Brad.
MJ.
It's the perfect name for his character.
He's quite a Brad. Yeah, I can't remember the counselors' names either. We'll call him Glasses One and then Bald One. Or the other one.
No, that works for me.
Wait, were they both bald? I don't know. Glasses One and non.
I don't think Glasses One was bald.
Okay.
I don't think so.
But I found it funny.
Ambien one.
I liked what the Glasses One he said with the whole blips. Like, yeah, I thought my wife got blipped. God. We had a funeral and everything. It turns out she just used it to run away from another guy.
The best joke in the whole movie. Oh my god.
Yeah, I'll get back to the Bald One later. I like some of his jokes.
Yeah, like they were both great.
Yeah. But they did all that kind of stuff.
That's the best thing I can say about this movie is, independent of being a cool action movie, it was an awesome comedy. It was an awesome teen comedy. Yeah.
And Peter's plan fails, but it works for Ned.
Yep. Which is another one of the just best twists this movie could have had. Get off of there, because it's so perfect for these dumb teenagers and everything. And I did not see it coming.
No.
Even when they like held hands or something, I was like, I for some reason I didn't even think then. And then it's like, oh, we're dating now. I'm like,
Peter's like, what? What I miss?
The hell? And then I also love that they broke up at the end.
It's like,
it's so good.
Like, yeah, man, we go on double dates sometimes. Like, oh, we broke up. And then Ned said some kind of like philosophy.
When men and women grow up or something, sometimes they grow up.
Like, you're so wise. Like, well.
Or say, what happened to being bachelors in Europe? It's like, a boy said that. Like, now I'm a man. Oh, so good.
Yeah. So yeah, at the end there, Venice, the water elemental shows up, kind of beats up on Peter a little bit.
Yeah. This was some of the thing, like this is case in point, it's minor, but like this is one of the things, like the kind of slapsticky thing where it's like his head's hitting the like bell over and over again. Yeah. Stuff like that, I'm like, this just didn't really fit to me. It just kind of felt like, I don't know, cheaper humor than everything else around it. Everything else around it just seemed better. It just, I don't know. So some of that, it's like almost felt like watching a cartoon. It just didn't really fit for me.
I liked it.
That's one of the only examples that I can just immediately think of. But
if someone point out a potential inconsistency with the water elemental, now that we know it was an illusion, the fact that Peter got hit and got wet. He got punched. Yeah. Like into the bridge, and then he got wet.
Maybe the drone has water in it, so it's squirting him in the face with water. Like,
I mean, that's a very small thing, but
yeah. I mean, the whole you could explain it all any of that away with like it's a water drone. The drone has
and admittedly that's one of those things that they explained it later, like, oh, this is how we got away. Be like, okay, you're explaining a little too much now.
yeah. But I wasn't even thinking about that then. Because
again, very small thing that doesn't detract from anything. The Mysterio shows up, helps saves the day. Peter helps saves the day.
Which again, this is where we're starting to see like, Mysterio looks cool.
Yeah.
All the stuff, and then get the reveal of Jake Gyllenhaal.
And then I think is the right order. They go back to the hotel, and then Fury knocks Ned out.
And that whole scene with him trying to like talk to him, just like if one more person knocks out that door, we're gonna go to another funeral.
I think they took a line out from that scene. Because I remember something about when in the trailers, when they knocked Ned, I was like, just, you need to roll him on the side before he swallows his tongue.
I think I did see that.
And there was also another scene that was cut out that looks like from the beginning of the movie when he was in New York. He was fighting some people in, like a restaurant. So I think that would have helped a couple people's complaints that the beginning it was very loud with Spider-Man. Having that scene could have helped with that if they kept that in.
Yeah, it was very just Peter Parker centric for a very, very long time.
But that happened. I think that's when Fury gave Peter Edith.
I think so.
Yeah,
believe so. Yeah.
Is
this where then he tells him? Is this where he tells him the whole thing, the whole plan or whatever, and then Peter turns him down?
I think he
walks away, or is that later?
I can't remember the exact order of this.
Yeah,
I think that might have been later.
Okay, either way, like I don't think.
Then they're going on the road trip, going to the next city or whatever that they're doing, and then Peter gets caught in that room with the hot European chick by Brad.
Which this was another one of those things that I appreciated about this movie is it like absolutely 100% seemed seemed like a very kind of cliche plot point that it seemed like, oh, this picture is going to be MJ is going to see the picture and then want nothing to do with Peter, and then it's going to be a big misunderstanding, and he's going to have to explain this away. I kind of like that. No, the picture was deleted and that was it. And then Brad's the one that looks like an asshole. Like I kind of like that. Like I was starting to dread it. I was like, all right, come on. Like this just kind of feels
the way the thing where Peter finally puts on Edith and ends up to almost just blowing up.
Almost kills Brad.
Killing everyone.
Yeah. So is Brad a target? Yes. Okay. Elimination. Yeah, that was
like, wait, what?
But like they had a really funny scene on that, and it was at least for me a subversion because like I was really dreading like, do we really have to go through this whole plot? Like I was really dreading that, so I enjoyed that subversion.
Yeah. On one hand, it's also kind of like if they did go through that, the way they've characterized MJ is like, would she potentially like be mad?
I think it would at least be that he's like having sex with some random person. I don't think she would necessarily be okay with that if that's what she believed was happening. I don't think she would be cool.
Yeah.
Necessarily.
I'm not saying full on cool, but not necessarily upset. Like, I'm not talking to you.
Yeah. I think romantically she might be distant to that
but
point.
That wouldn't have lasted too long. Then blah blah blah. Yeah, I can't remember where all the places they went. Then they go on to the they go to the next place. I think that's when they meet up with Peter meets up with Nick Fury and Mysterio in that little cave.
Yeah.
And then Mysterio explains his backstory about how he was from an alternate dimension and elementals destroyed his planet and his family and all that kind of stuff. I can't remember the exact number, but they did a little Easter egg of, hey, you're from this universe, which is the same universe. Like I think it was like 616 or something. The normal Marvel universe.
Yeah, I know there was like some call outs that exactly know.
Stuff like that, which is always cool.
Very good acting for Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yep. And then Peter wants none of this shit. And it's like, I want to be a kid, man.
Which is, people pointed out, it's really funny that like, if you just go from Homecoming to this one, Homecoming, it's like, I want to be an Avenger. Let me be an Avenger. And they won't let him be an Avenger. And then this one, they're like, all right, we need you to be an Avenger. He's like, all right, now I don't want to do it then.
Look at my class trip, man.
I don't want to do it. If you want me to do it, then I don't want to do it.
Yeah. And then Fury's like, Fuck you, man. I'm taking control of your trip.
Yeah, I did like that too. He's like, oh, okay, all right, bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Oh yeah, something because going on spoilers with this, the fact that Fury is actually Talos, the scroll.
Yeah.
Which
is weird.
Yeah, but his reaction to Captain Marvel's name, I can't remember exactly what he said, was just kind of weird. It makes sense now that
I didn't even think about that. Where he's like, yeah, don't.
I immediately thought of.
I did, yeah. Or I mean, I said I didn't think about that. Yeah, in hindsight, like I kind of forgot about
after
that
we
line.
found it was scroll. Like, I was thinking like some stuff that happened with Nick Fury make more sense now.
Yeah. It's still weird.
Yeah,
still really weird. But yeah, so then they divert their class trip.
Yeah. Then Peter and the fire elementals have coming. They know that because they were able to do the whole pinpointing, blah blah blah. Well, Mysterio's playing the whole thing, so he can make it anywhere he wants to be, blah blah blah. Then Peter's class going to the opera, and no one wants to go.
Yeah, which was also really funny.
And they get there, and MJ really wants to sit next to Peter, making it not so subtle. The parents go like, bye.
No, yeah, and then speaking into his earphone, which is funny.
And MJ, Ned, and his girlfriend all left, and then get in danger, of course.
God, so hot. This trip was so fun.
Then Peter and Mysterio defeat the fire elemental. Yeah,
but it's all bullshit.
It's all bullshit. That's when Peter gives Mysterio
Night Monkey.
Night Monkey. Best superhero. I really hope in Spider-Man PS4 it's called the Night Monkey suit.
It needs to be. I saw that it's in there.
Yeah, that and the black suit.
Yeah, they need to call it Night Monkey.
So yeah, Peter gives Mysterio Edith. That's when the whole plot twist. He's actually a bad guy.
And again, I love that scene so much. But we already talked about it. That was so good. And again, just Jake Gyllenhaal's acting in there was so good too, because you believe he like turns it down, but like he knows that I don't know, he just plays it so well.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Peter's is kind of an easy guy to read, especially once you get distressed. So he's like, I could turn it down. He'll keep on pushing. It'll be fine.
I love the line so much because this was another thing that I feel like previous superhero tellings probably wouldn't really have like acknowledged this. But he said, we did our research and we found out, was this technology given to the president or to like Shield or like to like some government agency? No, it was given to a 15-year-old child.
Yeah,
and I love that because that actually it makes sense that okay, we can manipulate a 15-year-old kid, sure.
Yeah, worked out for us. Tony decided to give one of the most powerful weapons in the world to a child.
Yep, which is a legitimately stupid thing to do, and I kind of like that this movie acknowledges that. Yeah, that was probably dumb. You like Peter, but he's still.
To be fair, Tony may expected Peter to be older when he died.
Yeah, probably. Probably a little bit.
Okay. Then after all that, blah blah blah, Peter talks to MJ. MJ figured out that Peter is Spider-Man, or said, hey, I've kind of pretty much known for a while, blah blah. You make it very obvious, kid.
Which is another subversion that I love.
Yeah,
like I love that, it was
and then they kind of do this for like when she actually admits, like, wait, you're admitting it? I was just kind of,
I was only 67% sure. I was only 60% sure or something. Yeah, like this was another one. Like I said, MJ's becoming one of my favorite characters, and this was.
I love it in this stuff when people like actually figure it out and say it with logic. Like it makes sense that people would be able to figure out based on everything if you pay attention.
Like I was about to spoil another movie that maybe I shouldn't spoil, but yes, I like it. I like because that happens way too much when the secret identities are just. People are like selectively stupid about them.
Yeah.
Because the things are already there everywhere they go. Like Spider-Man happens to be there, like in New York, and then he happened to be there in
Washington.
Washington when they went into the.
And Spider-Man or someone who happens to have the same power set as Spider-Man suddenly appears when you're here, Peter.
Yeah, I like it. Like you said that she thought it, but then she also wasn't 100%.
Add on to it. Spider-Man was apparently gone the 5 years we were both blipped.
Yeah. Yep. Yep, it just adds up too much, and it's just so refreshing to have that. Which is,
Yep.
Yeah.
So and also with
she
that
also,
MJ, well, part of the reason she figured out because she got one of the cloaking devices or devices from Mysterio's drones or whatever, and it's spider webs on it. She's like, spider webs.
So they find out that, hey, this shit's fake.
This shit is fake.
This whole thing's a act. And then I think this is when we cut over to another one of my favorite scenes, which is Mysterio rehearsing. And I love that he is like straight up like a stage director. It's so good. It's so good because all this happens.
More
like,
explosions.
Yeah, it's like, no, dial it up a little bit. Like, all right, move this over there. It's like he's like, well, we gotta make this look cool, coolest. It's like, he goes from like super villain to like he's stage director type person. It's I don't know. I just love that kind of like. I love it. All right,
going back to Wendy Different, I like this line. He called my life's work barf.
And that was like his whole thing.
Yep.
That was his whole reasoning.
Yep.
But I also talking about Jake Gyllenhaal's acting. I think because even at this point, I think like you obviously know that Jake Gyllenhaal is going to do bad things, but at this point,
you don't know like how far.
Yeah, and like he honestly doesn't seem that bad at this point. I mean, like he's like you understand where he's coming from. Like he's been wronged in certain ways, and like he's manipulating people, but he's not like this complete just psychopath at this point. But I do think a really good way of kind of like showing that screw coming loose was the guy who said like, oh, we must have misplaced that transmitter, and then he starts screaming at him, the scientist from Iron Man or whatever.
Yeah. And then puts the
lasers on or whatever, and it's like, whenever I kill Peter Parker, that's his blood's on your hands, and just like how like that was a really cool like turn for Jake Gyllenhaal, because it was a pretty happy scene up until then, and then it was like, oh shit, okay, this guy's off his rocker a little bit.
Yep. Let's see. Next, Peter tries to meet Nick Fury to tell him what's going on and all that kind of stuff in Germany. I think it's when this is happening. And ends up doing a cool little illusion battle.
Oh wait, I'm sorry, I zoned out. This is when the first, like, whenever he does that with Spider-Man. Yeah, okay. Also, this is when we were talking about the special effects.
Yeah,
like, whoo boy, it's so cool.
Boy, yeah.
It's like a Scarecrow.
Oh yeah,
battle. It's like very reminiscent of Scarecrow stuff, and it was just so freaking well done.
Yep, so great.
Is this where the zombie Iron Man?
Yes.
Man, that's fucked up.
Yeah.
Real messed up.
Turns out that, then it shows a thing of, looks like Spider-Man's an illusion, then he goes back to normal because Nick Fury apparently shot Mysterio in the head, and it's like, you need to tell me who else you told. He says, it's like, oh, thank you.
Did that get you, or did
I figured, like, I know,
it was an illusion? Yeah,
I knew the whole time that because Maria was instantly illusion. Everything else was. I'm like, there's no way Nick Fury's not also one.
Right? Yeah, I assume so too.
And then,
but Peter I think they set it up well because he was. Yeah. They had Nick Fury ask that question before the illusion too, so it almost kind of seemed like it was,
Yeah. And then Peter gets hit by a train.
Which that was also like it pops back in, boom, like that just felt so visceral. It was like boom, bam. It was really well done. And then wakes up in the Netherlands.
Yep, in a jail cell
with the like nicest jail cell. And this is yet another one where it's like it seems like this is kind of gonna go down a very tired like, oh god, we're gonna have to go through this whole thing of him like getting out of jail. It's like, nope, he just kind of like pops out and he goes and asks someone for his phone. He's like, man, everyone here is so nice.
No, and I also like the police officer is like, talking to his wife or whatever. It's like, yeah, night monkey.
Or and he said something about like his child or whatever, and they're like, George is having a kid. Oh,
that's so great. Is wearing Peter's mask. Like, yeah, night monkey.
Like again, that plot point could have been drawn out and so annoying. But
and then we have the whole thing with the Happy Cummins showing up,
and then Peter again, like kind of breaking down about everything that's happening and missing Tony and not knowing what to do. And then another one of my favorite lines. I have so many favorite lines. It reminds me a lot of me and you talking about Homecoming. But where he said, "You're never going to live up to Tony. Even Tony couldn't live up to being Tony." He said, "Tony was a mess. I was his best friend, but he was an absolute mess." And he.
And one of my favorite scenes is when he's working on the suit and it just looks like Tony and Iron Man 1 building stuff.
There's so many.
And then Happy's like smiling and Peter's like, "Wait, what?" It's like, nothing.
I love Led Zeppelin.
Like, Peter.
But like, I don't know. I'm so interested. Like, this is probably not going to be in this discussion. We're probably going to have this like another time. But like, I am just really interested in like, it really seems like they're setting him up in so many ways as the next Iron Man. But it actually feels earned because Tony was like a father to him. And it's like super interesting, especially since Sony owns Spider-Man.
Yeah. I was walking away. It's crazy, like how, despite the whole Sony thing, like how they tied in.
They seem to be like putting him at the head of like everything they're wanting to do.
Like, it doesn't make sense if, like, let's say Venom's in this universe. It feels like. Anyway. Don't do it, Sony.
Just don't do it.
Yeah. Let's see.
Oh, and also like, we have to have a plan. It's like, but what are we actually doing? Because we've been hovering over a tulip field for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So many good lines.
Yep.
So then they're going to the city. He
makes his new suit with the web wings or whatever.
Yep. Fancy suit.
Yep.
We go and stop the Mysterious Man.
Yep. And the Mysterious whole plan is we have the most giant monster thing ever. We're gonna have all the elementals combined. It's gonna be huge. Everyone's gonna love me. And then he's talking to all the people like a director.
Avengers levels threat.
Yeah, talking to people like director, and it's like, do I still get the steam the cape? Yes, you still steam.
I might be shaking hands with the Queen in like 3 hours.
I need a non-wrinkled cape.
I love it so much. He's just like this prissy stage director.
Yeah. Then they do all that kind of they fight for a while.
Yeah,
have crazy cool Spider-Man stunts as Spider-Man does.
Yes. Yeah, with the jumping off the drones and everything, like all of that was really cool.
One of the best like visual things ever at the end of there when he does the whole Spidey sense awakening thing with his eyes closed and everything is dark.
Dude. That's the one where
top tier MCU action, Darby.
Oh my god, it was so amazing. As soon as it's like, oh shit, it's on. As soon as that happens. And then you're just seeing like the illusion break, and it's like he like throws a punch and you don't even see what he's doing until right when it connects. It's just so well done. We talk about third acts. Like, usually a lot of times the action and just everything does not live up to the hype of what it should for the third act. And like Black Panther is a good example of
just, that's one of the best in the MCU, no question.
Oh yeah. Like that whole battle was just
the only ones that I can say definitively might beat it are Endgame and Infinity War.
yeah, those are obviously like, it's unfair.
That's unfair.
But like compare this to like Captain Marvel, compare it to Black Panther, compare it to so many other ones. It's like, this is just top notch.
Indeed. Oh, and then the whole thing of the like at some point the drones shoot Mysterio, and he knows because he's like,
you're in the blast range. Like, I don't care,
I can't do it. And then he ends up getting shot, and then Peter's talking to him laying down, and then suddenly Peter throws his hands up and like squish the gun, catch the bullet, whatever the hell.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, that's awesome.
I didn't expect him to die, to be honest. I didn't completely expect. Like, that kind of caught me off guard.
I feel like it's one of those things where, and I do hate it because it could have been great if they were building up like a Sinister Six thing where we had like Vulture and Mysterio teaming up.
Yeah.
But I can imagine part of the reason Jake Gyllenhaal did this if it was like a one movie deal. Yeah. And now he's gone. I mean, it's Mysterio. So they could just, if they really wanted to, it was an illusion.
Yeah. Or, I mean, he could even come back as an illusion potentially in the future.
Yeah.
But
I mean, Mysterio's like, okay, we got it so he can we have a reason to not bring him back, but also set up if we do bring him back, we technically can bring him back.
Yeah. I mean, if he is dead right now, there's obviously someone else still kind of acting as Mysterio, obviously, as we'll get to in a little bit. Yeah. So, like, that guy, like, the Iron Man doctor guy could end up being, like, the, whatever.
Yeah. And also for all this, the, like, Ned, MJ, and Happy are all trying to survive the drone.
Great, too. Yeah. Yeah, like, I love
that's a halberd.
Yeah, there we go. And, how does Cap do this? through the shield. That was all really good. But I this was all great. And like I said, like I liked that as we'll get to the post-credit scene, because good God. But I kind of, with that post-credit scene, I kind of hope that Mysterio is dead, because I think it kind of almost makes it even more impactful. And like and Mysterio dying put me off my guard.
Yeah.
Like, if Mysterio had stayed alive in any capacity, then I might have been maybe more thinking about the ending we got. But with that, it felt like a brutal, like, oh shit, he's dead, and because you also kind of like Mysterio in a way, like, so it's like I don't necessarily want him to die, but it's like and you felt Peter felt that too, like Peter didn't enjoy that.
Yeah. Peter doesn't like death.
I mean, he's a 15-year-old.
Peter and MJ are now a thing. It happened. They're together.
Probably, again, like, I just hate to be that guy, but just, Jeff, just compare this, like, kiss scene and this, like, romantic finally happening scene. Compare that to Tobey Maguire and whoever.
But Darby, do you remember the rain and he was upside down, and...
It's just not even close. It's just not even remotely close to being as good. Like, this is so much better.
Yeah.
I just love their chemistry is just so freaking good, and they're like so great. It's awkward, just like it was a fucking terrible kiss, and I love it. Like, I love it so much.
Yep. And then we talked about before, they do the airport thing, whatever. MJ and Peter, couple, blah blah blah. Ned broke up with his girlfriend. Oh yeah, something I didn't bring up. The ball teachers thing with witches. I'm a man of science.
It's witches.
And I don't know if you noticed this, when he was doing the glasses stuff and had things up for everyone, when in the profile it says under his name, history of witchcraft.
Oh my God, yeah, that was great. With him talking to Brad, he was like, "But for real, dude, you gotta stop taking pictures of people in the
bathroom." That weird.
Both of those, like, teacher people,
they're in there just enough.
So damn good. What was the thing where he was like, "I'm trying my best," Derek or whatever. Oh, that was good. Yeah.
It's
do you have anything more before we get into post credits?
I guess the final thing
that's gonna be a big thing.
Yeah, it's involved in post credits scene. I guess this is the bridge between them. At the end, we got. Oh wait, okay. The whole something that's really good at the end is Peter's doing kind of a talking monologue thing and make it sound like he's going to do the Iron Man thing, and then he's asking Aunt May and Happy, "Are you dating?"
Yeah,
and they both go, "No," and then Happy's like, "Yes," like, but we ended the night. No, it was just a summer fling.
Yeah, which that was great for them and their relationship, and it was also great for kind of, at least for me, putting my guards down about, like, not being ready for that post credit, because I was like, oh, okay, they did the fake.
Oh yeah,
like, he's about to reveal.
When it's leading up to, like, oh, he might do the whole reveal your identity thing, because something people are gonna bring up, Spider-Man's the only one with a secret identity, but it kind of makes sense for him, but whatever. But yeah, something like leading into the post credit scene, kind of the bridge forward in the end is Peter taking MJ to swing around the city and her absolutely hating it.
Yep. That was really funny. He's like, "You're gonna love it," and she's like, "Nope, never do that."
Nope.
And I think it's cool because she's always, like, kind of seems like a, like, badass. Like, kind of an awkward person, but kind of a cool teen and whatever. It was kind of cool to see her just terrified. It was just like, nope.
Yep.
Yep. Never again.
But let's face it, she's gonna have to get used to it. It's gonna happen a lot.
It's probably gonna be an ongoing thing that she hates it.
Yep.
But yeah, she's gonna be in danger so many times,
Especially with that mid-credits scene.
Woo, Jeff.
So yeah, the mid-credits scene. If you somehow made it this far and have not watched that scene, or know anything about it,
legitimately, like, if you walk down the theater, like, maybe stop listening to this until you can find it on YouTube, because you need to just see this. You don't need to hear me and Jeff say it. You need to see it.
So yeah, Peter and MJ just got done swinging around. MJ's like, I hated that. Never again. Then Peter jump up on a lamppost or something and be like, about to swing away. Then the TV starts coming on. And it's Mysterio at the final end. It's like, I'm just trying to...
Wait, first. J. Jonah Jameson.
Oh, yeah.
J.K. Simmons is back as J. Jonah Jameson. Like, they did it. They freaking did it.
The one good thing from the Raimi trilogy. Yeah, the one thing that needed to be brought back. The one
thing that, like, we're all okay with coming back. Like, it's so good. Like, and I'm interested to see how much he's going to be involved in the future ones. Like, it might just be, like, little interstitial things like that.
Since they set it up at him doing, like, a whole TV, like, TV
Alex
thing.
Jones. It was so very similar to really Spider-Man PS4.
So what they could do if Simmons is okay with it is just put him in front of a green screen to do some of the stuff.
That's all I'm expecting.
Yeah.
And
that's fine.
Even that's really cool. Like,
that's fine.
Super cool they brought him back to play to play it, because like he is so perfect for that. I am still amazed that I did not get that spoiled for me.
Yeah.
That's just such a big thing. And I still haven't seen
I saw something about a cameo, but I didn't really think much into it or look into it at all. Obviously, I didn't look into it, but...
Yeah. But that definitely took me off guard. Yeah. But somehow that was not even the big thing. Like, that's that's not even the big thing.
Yeah, footage from Mysterio, obviously, it was doctored / using illusions, all that kind of stuff of the ending right before Mysterio died. At some point, Peter had Edith and turned off all the things. He's like, execute them all or something like that or whatever. They might have twisted the words some. I can't remember.
I even remember whenever he said it in the movie, I thought it was going to be another gag where he said execute them all, and then Edith's like, okay, executing everyone on Earth or something. He'd be like, oh no. But then like they didn't do anything with it, so I was like, that was a weird choice in words, but okay.
Yeah. But then you do that, it's like Spider-Man is trying to trying to kill everyone, blah, blah, blah. He's a bad person. Oh, by the way, he's Peter Parker. Show his pictures and like the ending of Spider-Man. And Peter's like, what the fuck?
The credits. And it's like,
also something I just love the way that his mask emotes.
Oh, yeah, me too. Yeah. Again, compare it to the Raimi movies with his lifeless, just emotionless mask. And like, this one is... Yeah, so
but Darby, what he's feeling. I think we were both stunned at that scene. We're like,
I was just completely like, what? Because it was already like, I'm just interested in anything in this universe, like anything in the Spider-Man universe with these characters.
We were both like, give us the next movie now.
I mean, even without that, like, I'm just into the next one. But now it's just like, holy shit, the possibilities! Like everything that this opens up.
Peter's identity is out there. People think that Peter is now a potential killer.
Bad, but like he went from like they're setting him up as the new Iron Man, but now he's instantly gonna be like the world hates him.
I'm curious how they handle this, because if they do the whole, well, I guess here's the thing though, because they up to this point they've done the whole thing of it. Time moves along with us as far as the years and all that. They jumped ahead 5 years or 4 years technically, because it's 2023 there.
Yeah.
In them. So they don't have to exactly go by our timeline anymore.
Right.
What I'm getting at is if they did what they normally did in the next Spider-Man movie, like it's probably going to be like 2 years from now, because Homecoming was 2 years ago. It'd be weird if nothing significant happens with Peter in the 2 years until we get the movie in their time.
Yeah.
So I wonder what they're going to do with that.
I mean, it could be a time jump into like Peter's been
in hiding,
like been having to live in hiding, and maybe he's with Happy or something, but even Happy's having to like meet with him in private or something,
or he's in space with Fury.
And I could even see where he's like he hasn't seen MJ because he's too afraid to meet with her, because he's afraid of what danger that would bring her and everything. But like this is instantly like MJ's in danger, Aunt May's in danger, like Ned's in danger and everything, and like he might be hunted. There's just so much, and I was like, me and you both said I was just not ready for that. I was like, oh shit, I didn't like, and it makes so much sense. It didn't feel cheap at all because it's like, it seemed like Mysterio. This like whether, and we don't know, like, is Mysterio still alive, and is that how he did it, or was it that guy? I think Mysterio's dead, and when you saw the scientist
this guy like take some information dead on,
like he had a close up on his hand, like taking the flash drive and closing the laptop and walking away. Like
Mysterio probably had nothing to do with that. That might have been a plan they discussed, but it's probably just straight up the scientist guy executing it.
I think it's him doing that, and like this is where I feel like maybe Mysterio could end up coming back, but not really. Like it's going to be a fake illusion drone Mysterio,
because with the crazy stuff they did,
we could still have Sinister Six with Mysterio, but it's this scientist guy kind of doing it instead, because he can make himself look like whatever he wants.
Well, because the way Mysterio works, it's the fistball, but you don't usually see the face until they take it off. So it could be that guy or anyone with that. So they could still do Mysterio just it not being Jake Gyllenhaal. Yeah, and even imagine with that technology, they can still technically have the front of its back. We've been calling him Mysterio, it's like Glenn Beck or whatever. Something Beck.
Glenn Beck.
No, it's not Glenn Beck. It's something Beck. Beck is the character, but the illusion and stuff, they can make him kind of do and say anything the scientist guy wants.
Yeah.
Which obviously he did with that.
And like you think at the end of Homecoming, when the guy was like going to use Vulture to try to find out who Spider-Man is, like he knows now. It's oh my god, it's just so cool.
And then we have the post-credits scene, which in the grand scheme of things, honestly, might be a bigger thing. It's
also a big revelation. These were some pretty heavy post-credit scenes.
Yeah, none of them were necessarily just funny little thing. Like, no, these have big like implications for the MCU. But we mentioned this earlier. Fury was Talos the whole time. Maria Hill, I can't remember their name, was another Skrull. And Fury is in space. With a bunch of other Skrulls, probably with Captain Marvel as well, and doing something.
Like how long has he been there? What's he doing? It looks like a whole lot of nothing, because he was like wasn't it
isn't it 8 months between Endgame and
I don't know exactly.
I think I saw that or heard that somewhere. So he's probably been up there most of that time. Having Talos down there.
It also just kind of erases any event now from Nick. Like Nick Fury wasn't a part of any of that.
And that whole movie, it was all technically Talos. Which explains a couple of his weird things.
But I do feel like we're going somewhere with that, because like
obviously there we are.
But also just Samuel L. Jackson in general. If you think about it, there's been 3 big MCU movies this year, and he's been a huge part of 2 of them, and then he was a minor part of the other one. Like Samuel L. Jackson's usually not this involved with these movies. I'm wondering if they're like actually like going further with Nick Fury than they normally do. Because this is like the most involved he's been in a while. I mean, he was a very central character in Captain Marvel and a pretty central character in this
I think what's happening is now that MCU is big as it is, Samuel L. Jackson likes that paycheck. Because Samuel L. Jackson kind of thing, he'll say yes to anything.
Well, and they're dropping a bunch of big actors with Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans, or at least 2 big actors.
Those 2 big
the 2 biggest, yes.
And I mean, ScarJo might only have 1 more left with that Black Widow movie next year, and that might be it. She's dead.
So maybe you can afford to give Samuel L. Jackson a little bit more. Man, what a great movie.
Something I really like out of this movie that I think some people didn't may care for as much is how MCU stuff was integrated in this thing.
That's part of what I mean about it just feeling like a TV show. It just feels like there's so
I love
much,
that part, but I know some people don't like it, but I just love it so much.
It just makes these movies like feel so much like fuller. Like there's just like, because yeah, they don't all have to be. I mean, they do stand on their own, but they don't all have to be just like independent of it. Like it all like matters. And none of it feels like forced. If it felt like it was being like shoved in there, that would be one thing. But like me having watched all of these movies makes like his relationship with Tony and like the way that he's dealing with that loss, like that's a huge part of this movie. Like Tony colors this movie. Like Tony is a presence in this movie, and I think that's so cool. It reminds you, it's like a comic. It's like comics, how they're all like.
Oh no, I love that aspect of it, especially since like, and we've mentioned this before, but I think this even more solidifies it. I think we talked about something in Endgame. This is probably something we might never see again. All these movies integrated, like connected,
just this well,
so well,
yeah,
and being this successful.
It shouldn't be this well.
It shouldn't work, but it does.
And yeah, even in a Spider-Man movie, like obviously you expect that stuff in an Avengers movie, but yeah, like even in Spider-Man movies, you're seeing the effects of all this.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. So, Vulture was also an ex-Stark employee, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Man, Tony's demons really catch up with Peter.
And that's very realistic. He was kind of a like billionaire asshole. Like we love Tony, but there's like a lot, like even as we see in nowadays with like Jeff Bezos and a bunch of other people, to be like a very big successful person at the top of a company, you're like kind of spurning a lot of people, and there's a lot of people you're probably using as stepping stones.
Yeah,
and that's gonna gonna create a lot of problems. Which is cool.
Darby, we're gonna have to wait like 2 more years for another Spider-Man movie.
I know,
but might get another Into the Spider-Verse in between.
Yeah,
because I think they confirmed that is happening.
with Spider-Man in general, he's just in such a great place. And between Into the Spider-Verse and these
Spider-Man PS4
and Spider-Man PS4, like good God,
yep,
just never stops.
Into the Spider-Verse now on Netflix.
I need to rewatch that.
Yep.
All right, Jeff. Well, I need to go to bed. I have to drive home. Go to bed. I got work in the morning. But thank you guys so much for joining us. Thank you, Jeffrey. It's been a pleasure.
My pleasure.
Yeah. I don't know we don't even know what our next MCU movie is. We don't know when we're doing.
We don't know anything. There is, I think, gonna be an MCU panel at Comic-Con, which is August, right? So I think there's supposed to be a big one there. That's probably where they're gonna go through and talk about all that stuff.
It's weird to not know.
Yeah, I know we're done for the year because we've already had 3, so probably get like Black Widow or something early next year.
All right. So maybe not a whole lot of Spoilercast coming up, but
Frozen 2.
Stay tuned. We'll do that without seeing Frozen 1.
We're gonna see Joker.
All right. Bye.